Sir, right?
Each side now, please, requesting. Everybody go one side. Can you all please move a little that side? Thoda sa.
अरे कबीर भाई, अरे वो कबीर ने पूरा हाथ लगा दिया भाई।
रही पे थोड़ा हाथ किलो
वो किलर रुका दिया। सर स्ट्रेट, सर स्ट्रेट, नाइस।
Done, guys. Done. Please, I request
Thank you, sir.
everyone to please.
चल भाई, चल चल रतन।
Please, please.
Just straight, please.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Boman Irani. It is a great pleasure to welcome you to Spider Boman. Please put your hands
When I was 10 years old, I was taken to see a film. I was taken to see a film ever since my mother was pregnant. I've been watching films from her womb. And my father had passed, so I had my aunt and my mother, thin little lady, and my mom, big Parsi lady. And the two of them, three of us, used to go to movies every Friday. That was the day our shop was closed, where my mom and my aunt were free. So we used to watch movies every Friday, and one such movie was a film called Anand. And while watching the film, in the interval, I would bring the popcorns and the ice cream and the Cokes. And she said, "Who's that actor? What's his name?" So I said, "That's Rajesh Khanna." I said, "No, the tall one." So I said, "Didn't you see Mom on the credits?" I must have been 11 years old. She said, "No, go out in the lobby and check on the poster. Bring me the spelling because it's a little long and it's a little complicated for me." So I went and I phonetically tried to do something. I came back and I garbled something, and they were very upset with me because they couldn't get the name right. In the taxi on the way home, they did a stand-up routine all the way home about how to pronounce your name. So it went. Finally, the cabbie started laughing when my mom said, "I got it. It's Amitabh Bachchan." Next, and I was so embarrassed and I was angry. Next morning over breakfast, the two of them were staring out of the window having chai and banmaska and broon, and they said, "Let's call him my Amto. From that day on, you've always been her Amto." And many years later, I went and saw a movie on my own. When I say on my own, which means I bunked my tuition classes and watched a movie. And I came home and Mom was sitting like a Dawn on the steps, like this. And I walked in and she was very upset. Where do you go? I said, to see a movie. To see a movie? I said, yes. Which movie? I said, Ammar Akbar Anthony. How was my Amto? That's what you mean to me, my family, and so many people sitting here in the audience who have stories to say about how they were growing up. Young people like my wife can tell you stories about how she feels today. She's choking up. Don't do that, Zenobia, you're making me nervous. Don't do that. And more so today, when you will reveal the family name of our company, a production house, which we'll do in front of all of you. So everyone, may I have the clicker, please? Just a second, sir. Dim the lights, please. I have to, thank you everyone. It's very important. My wife said she couldn't see it once, so she wants another. Is it okay for her sake if you can click it once again? Please, Zenobia, we want to see it again, right? Yeah. That's my father in the frame. There's a little calendar which says 24, which is today. And all my childhood memories at the Alexander Cinema. Strangely, my friend here, his name is Alexander. The Alexander Cinema. And let's play it. Mr. B, Mr. Bachchan, beg your pardon. Bless us, please.
As someone who's been a great admirer of this gentleman on my right, as someone who has had the privilege of having him with me in several of my films, of having been someone who's been upstaged by this wonderful artist in all my films, it is a great privilege today to be here at the launch of this most ambitious venture. I've always believed that the writer is one of the most, not just one of the most, he is the most important person in a project. They conceive the story, they write the screenplay, they conceive the artists, how they will speak, what they will wear, where they will go, how they will perform, what dialogues they will say, all done by the writer. It's a great moment today, Boman, that you have decided to recognize this very important aspect in filmmaking, and my congratulations to you. There are very few of us who actually are brave enough to start something like Boman has. My congratulations to you, Boman, and to this wonderful company that you've launched. May this ever succeed. May this produce many more writers that we so desperately need, and wish you all the very best. I hope to see you with me on screen again, and for God's sake, don't upstage me again.
Friends, I think we've done very well time-wise. Something Mr. Bachchan has taught the entire industry how to manage time, be on time, leave on time, maybe. Alex, I'd like to say this. In our country, our beautiful country, India, we honor the people we revere, love, and respect in a particular way. It's an old tradition, and I'd like to keep with that tradition by making Mr. Bachchan wear a shawl. It's the thing we do, right? This particular shawl, come this side, my darling, come this side. This particular shawl, Mr. Bachchan, come stand there, sweetheart. If you can stand here. This particular shawl is a Pashmina, of course, but what we decided to do was going with the Parsi theme, and you know how I think you're half a Parsi yourself in many ways, especially with your punctuality and all. We decided to do it in a Kagara embroidery style, a traditional Parsi embroidery. But that would just be ornate and ornamental. I want to ask you all if anyone knows what one of the many meanings of Amitabh is. Let me tell you. Amitabh, apart from the many meanings that we like to give, Mr. Bachchan, one of the official meanings of the word Amitabh means everlasting light. Thank you, Ram, for that. And everlasting light, we decided that we would embroider on the border of this beautiful shawl created by Alexander Dinelaris and calligraphed by Achyut Pallav. We would embroider on the border everlasting light in 15 world and Indian languages. From Chinese, Urdu, Persian, Japanese, Hindi, Marathi, Sanskrit, Tamil, Oriya, everything. I'd like to call on my beautiful wife on stage so the two of us together could do this. Whatever else it may mean, Mr. Bachchan, for all of us over here and people all over the world, you will always be our everlasting light.
Thank you so much, Boman. Very humbling moment for me and very emotional. Perhaps many of you don't know, but in a few weeks from now, 15th of February, I shall be completing 50 years in the film industry. And may I just say that this wonderful wrapping around my shoulder is the best gift that I could ever have received for my 50 years. Thank you so much, Boman.
Tanish Kayos Reha and little Zihan, please. एक और फोटो लेंगे हाँ? Come fast.
There are no refreshments at Saffron, it seems. So it's all going to be right here in this room. You don't need to run away.
Okay, start. So,
ठीक है कोई बात नहीं मैं कोई आराम से शांति से
Boman, so if you could tell us, what made you change your track, from acting to direction?
I have not changed anything. I was always an actor, always will be an actor. It's just that I just found a new craft. I like writing ever since I've been a little kid. I've been writing since I've been a little kid, but writing very badly. But over the years, I decided to learn the craft by reading books, by going and visiting New York from time to time. I met Alex over here in New York, my dear friend now, like a brother, who we discussed my script. He was so encouraging. And over the years, we remained friends. One fine day, he calls me and says, I'm making a tuxedo. I said, what for? He says, I don't like wearing tuxedos, but this time I'm very excited to wear a tuxedo. So he says, I said, what for? He calls up very excited. He said, I've been nominated for the Oscars. So, and then next thing I know, 2 days later, because that party lasted for 2.5 days, he called up and said, we won. I said, I know, I watch television here in India. I know. And the idea behind this was, when I wrote the script, and I've met with Alex, his illustrious friends from the industry that he works with, I learned so much. And I just felt that it is wrong if just I am learning. It's important that we share. We share someone of his craft, rigor, intelligence, and simplicity at the same time to come over here. And he immediately said, I would love to come. I want to see students. I want to see students. I said, but there are a lot of people in the industry who will hang me if they know that you came to town and you'll go away and I'll not be allowed to live in this town. So he says, so we've invited script writers who have done 10 successful films, 5 successful films, 4, 3, 2, and some who are waiting for their film to be commissioned. And teacher like Anjum Radhavali, he's here bringing them all in. Students from FTI, the entire batch, Whistling Woods, Saviors, XIC, Digital, you name it. So we got getting people from the Apple box and we're getting people, kids from the Apple tree. And Alex is here to share the wonderful stories and things that I learned from him over the years in New York.
Alex, my question is for you. I'm Rajiv Vijayakar. I write for India West in California. My question is for you that, how familiar are you with Hindi cinema and its craft? Because ultimately, what you teach will also be used, implemented largely by the students in this country.
Yeah, my education began with Boman. One of the humorous aspects of our relationship is that when I met Boman, I wasn't familiar at all and didn't know who he was and hadn't seen any of his films. And I, at the same time, hadn't won anything or been paid a lot of attention to either. We just connected on a story that he was writing. Since meeting him now, I'm developing a taste and a fascination. And, well, we're going to talk later about how I have a company in New York as well, where we're developing based on writers as well, which is as rare in the United States as it is here. The screenwriter always a little bit lower in the pecking order. That's just the way it is, and I don't know why. But we have similar tastes, and discussing his story, I fell in love with his story, and that didn't take me very long to then fall in love with the man and his passion. And we just clicked immediately. And so it's been, 4 years now? Or
6.5 years.
See, that's what I do.
Familiar are you with the Indian template?
I'm just unfamiliar and just learning. I've seen a handful of films. I've seen Boman's work. And now I'm opening myself up to see if we can't find a bridge. So I hope to be well versed by the next time you and I speak. Yeah.
Boman, congratulations. Can you say something about Irani Movietone? How did you come up with this particular?
Okay, I grew up on Belasses Road, opposite a cinema called Alexander Cinema. So strange, right? Alexander Cinema was my cinema paradiso. And I used to be there every day, and I knew the projection is just like that little kid. I knew Lakshman. I used to watch movies sometimes from there. It was a great feeling. Alexander Cinema was owned by Irani, the man who gave us India's first talkie, Alamara. Irani owned that cinema. What a coincidence that is. The name of his company, of the Alamara company, was Imperial Movietone, a Parsi company. Adi Irani was the cameraman, Irani director, producer. All the Wadia Movietones, the Hunter Wali films, were from a Parsi company again called Wadia Movietone. I said, so if we are going back to the basics, such as Minerva Movietone, going back to writing, I think I should go back to where it all began, with Irani, Imperial Movietone, Minerva Movietone, Wadia Movietone, and my Alexander Cinema. And I decided to go the old-fashioned way, shoot it the old-fashioned way, and call it Irani Movietone, which is a very old-fashioned, forgotten way. I mean, if tomorrow you said we don't say productions, we say something else. You say, why would they call it productions? Suppose you say Dharma Productions. Why do they call it Dharma Productions 50 years or 100 years later? Every film company was called something Movietone. So I just said, let's bring that little culture back. Let's go back to where we have the sweetest memories of our lives, in the cinema, in the dark, and I hope it's reflected in the moving logo that we have produced and shot.
And what is the first project? What is the first project what you have in mind coming from Irani Movietone?
Well, we will have that celebration on another day, soon. On another day, I just wanted this to be, we're putting our name out there with the message, with our message, charter and mandate that this is what we want to concentrate on. We have Alex, who's happy to support maybe some young writers over here. We've got a plan, we are hatching in our heads. But the first production hopefully is the one that I have written, which I've been working on. If something else comes up before that, which I think that would be premature, maybe that. But the idea is to develop good stories. If the good story is on the page, we'll have good cinema on the screen.
Sir, you made your name from film, Munawai, MBBS. So how far do you think Rajkumar Irani is responsible for your...
Can we have questions related to
It's easy. That's not an easy. It's a straight, yeah. I think beginnings like this, 10, 20 years later, you'll ask me how far was Alex's influence. Yeah, great influence, great influence. Thank you.
last question?
जानना चाहेंगे राजकुमार हिरानी पर मिंटू का
I'm sorry,
I'm sorry, this is not the platform.
जानना चाहेंगे आपकी क्या राय है?
You're not able to
Any other question?
I'm sorry. Any other question?
Boman, आपकी इंडस्ट्री में काफी फ्रेंड्स हैं, इरफान है, फरहान अख्तर है, बहुत आमिर खान है, तो कौन है जिससे आप सबसे ज्यादा इंटरेस्ट और किसको लेके फिल्म बनाना चाहेंगे आप?
एक्टर्स हमारे सब भाई, जो पिक्चर में लगेगा कि ये शख्स इस रोल के लिए करेक्ट है, उनको ही लेंगे. Whoever feels right for the role. It's not got to do with friends at the end of the day. We are friends, but then if we don't meet, we don't match on a creative level, we'll just be friends, which is fine. But we match on different levels. Similarly, I would love to work with all these wonderful names that you have mentioned.
Mr. Bachchan,
Thank you so much, guys. You have to go down.